Hello, I'm Todd Witt with Synergy Home Performance. Today we're in Madison, Alabama at this 16-year-old house. The homeowners are in the process of doing an addition on the back where we're going to do the air conditioning design, the spray foam insulation, and the encapsulated crawl space. The homeowners are having major comfort issues and high utility bills, and we're going to take a look inside and see what we can do to fix those issues when we're doing the addition. We just started looking around this existing house and remodel to find out what kind of issues they're having, and we ran into a major issue to begin with. You can notice how this big package unit, and when I say package unit, it means that the condenser and the air handler are on the outside of the unit versus these split units over here, and we'll talk about all this in detail later. But notice how this unit is working so hard and so loudly. Can you only imagine how much energy it's using? But when we look at this, the first thing that grabs my attention is I want to make sure your air condition is your dehumidification system of your house. And we want to make sure we see tons of moisture being removed by your air conditioner when it's running. I've already looked inside the house for a moment, and this is the condensate drain for the upstairs unit. Notice it's running, but there's no moisture coming out. Where is all that moisture going? It's staying in the house. We come over here, and this is the package unit. And we should never have the two condensate drains tied into each other like this is, but you can see this condensate drain has been broken off. But as we look at this unit, we can see we're getting mold and mildew and growth on the outside of the concrete. You can only imagine what's happening inside of this unit. But in the summertime, it should be pouring out moisture out of the house. And one of the quick checks on this is I like to put my fingers over the unit. Notice all of a sudden, once we do that, how much moisture is coming out of the unit. Then it stops and then it starts again. So what happens, all that moisture is getting pulled back into the house, and it's just staying inside this unit to cause all kind of gross stuff inside your ductwork. We need to get this unit checked out. We need to get the coil cleaned. Best thing, replace this unit while we're in the remodeling phase. We've located one of the other condensate drains here in the corner of the house. You can see it's slowly dripping. We've got a sprinkler head that wets the foundation walls and the house itself. But our only saving grace over here is that we have the Sentricon termite elimination bait system, and that really helps. The problem is with moisture is termites love moisture, and we want to have your crawl space and your exterior of your house as dry as possible. We're up in this bonus room area of this house. We can go into detail later about exactly what a bonus room is, but bonus rooms have slanted ceilings, and they have what we call knee walls that are insulated behind it. We'll give you details on all this. It's actually in step 1 of airtight framing. One of the issues you see in an improperly insulated house is you see issues with a sheetrock in a bonus room or slanted ceiling. You can notice how these corners are coming loose. You can notice all through this area, especially over here where your junctions are. That's showing that that's not properly insulated behind that. And spray foam is the #1 way to take care of that. If you notice this fiberglass insulation, it was insulated on a bonus room wall and there's no backing to it. So what happens is there's really an air space between it and the sheetrock. That's where we're seeing the different imperfections in the sheetrock from the other side. But basically, if we take an infrared camera, we'll see all this yellow insulation is not doing anything. It has almost an R value of 0. So by encapsulating that, we eliminate the need to have these walls insulated. You can see areas here where the sheetrock is not properly insulated. And in your corners, that's what we saw on that other corner, is that's where you get contraction and expansion. Your seals break and you get all kind of other issues going on. The importance of a blower door used with an infrared camera is it allows us to locate framing bypasses. And if you look down in this attic, and we'll look at it from the outside in a second when we locate it, but what this is this is a framing bypass. What it's allowing to do is this 130, 140 degree temperature up here is allowed to move down all the way through the house. And what happens is we get condensation, we get sheetrock cracks, nail pops, we get moisture and mold growth. So we want to make sure we eliminate all these framing bypasses. The simplest way is to encapsulate the attic, and then we don't worry about it. We located that framing bypass in the attic, and now we've located where it is inside of the house. It's a shaft that goes all the way from the attic down throughout the house. How that's a problem is we have warm, moist air generated in the shower. If we're not able to get it exhausted through the bathroom fan correctly, the warm air hits a cold surface or vice versa, and you get all kind of rot, mold, mildew, other issues inside of this wall. If you notice this traditionally insulated attic, a lot of this area, there's only about 2 inches of insulation, which is about an R5 or 6. Code now calls for an R38. So one of the things we need to do is add more insulation to this area and make sure it's properly air sealed. Or what we're going to do in this case is we're actually going to encapsulate the rafters. When we decide to spray foam an existing attic, there's a bunch of different issues we have to address. One is bathroom fans. You can notice here is this bathroom fan is vented straight into the attic. So as they take a shower, all that moist air is moved into here where it condenses and moves right back into the house. As we look across this white insulation, we can see gray areas around the duct boots. And as we move the insulation just slightly back, you can see how much that air is leaking into the attic. If we had had this encapsulated with spray foam, this would not have been a big issue, but we don't want this happening. We don't want leaking ducts where hot air meets cold air and you get condensation and you cause dripping and rot in your house. This fiberglass insulation is missing down here. Not only is this insulation up here not working, but for sure it's not working down below. Let's explore the other side and see what's happening. Most of this insulation in these knee walls are not working, but we know it's not working where it's completely missing, where we just looked at from the other side. Notice down below here is where the trim is rotting. The sheetrock is discolored. There's just a bunch of issues going on, and that's from having an incomplete thermal barrier. We saw that there were 3 units on the outside of the house. We located the package unit that services the first floor. We've located the air handler in the attic that services the second floor, and we couldn't find the 3rd unit. Finally, we found it inside of this little nook, and it's servicing this bonus room by itself. If you've noticed in my other videos, is that a lot of times we have to put a separate unit on the bonus room because it's not adequately insulated and designed correctly. So use us, and we won't have the expense and the headaches of having to put this 3rd unit in. We're finishing up today at this house in Madison. You can see we came to do the addition, but we got sidetracked with all the issues in the existing house, from low levels of insulation in the attic, bad ductwork, low levels of insulation in the walls. Just a bunch of issues that need to be fixed to make this house healthy, comfortable, energy efficient, and durable. Thanks for watching our video. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and our website at WeTestOthersGuests.com.